Hope for the best, but plan for the worst. This is exactly the recipe for worry. Now, we can be intelligent and we can make plans for our future, and we can make sure that we are taking care of ourselves physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually. But planning for the worst puts us in a constant state of stress, and on a slightly lighter note, a constant state of worry. Now, lighter, I don't mean less serious, because chronic worrying is absolutely epidemic in our society, and it is especially epidemic among people who have unresolved and unhealed trauma. So what do you do? What do you do about it? Well, first of all, think about the last thing that you worried about. Chances are it was a chain of thoughts. There was the initial thought, situation A happens, and I'm worried about situation A happening. But then, if A happens, then B could happen. And if B happens, C could happen. And if C happens, D could happen. And if D happens, then we have blown the situation up into catastrophic proportions about something that might or might not even happen. Because worry is a projection into the future of what could potentially go wrong. Now, when we live from that state, we live from, there's chemicals in our body that are produced that keep us on high alert with everything. And chronic worry about one situation tends to overlap into other situations and into other relationships and keeps us awake at night. How many people have done that? Been there. Or it causes us to be less productive, and worrying about something actually increases the chances of exactly what you're worrying about coming to fruition more than if you had a thought. Okay, there's a thought that I'm thinking, I can think a different thought and move along. Now, one of the things that we do in coaching, especially when we're looking at trauma and working through that and working at where in our soma, our bodies, we hold our trauma, we also work on the slightly less, I'm not going to say less important, but less dramatic, let's say, things like worry and stress and all the things that can come out of trauma that become habitual thoughts. And we give tools. More importantly, you discover the tools within yourself that you have so that your worry, your anxiety, your stress becomes under your own control. And when it's under your own control, you start to see that you have control over multiple things in your life that you actually were worried about. And you become much more powerful, stepping into that power and living your life and doing what you need to do to avoid the things that you're worried about is a lot of what we work through in coaching. Now, trauma is a little different. Trauma that remains unhealed becomes our identity. So we are our trauma. We take it on, usually, especially if there's shame involved. We become, in our heads, we see ourselves as this shameful creature, which is what leads to all the, I have to worry about this, I have stress about this, I have anxiety about this. And I'm not downplaying that there are real things in our lives that come up to deal with. But when those happen, when you have the skills to actually deal with them as opposed to just worry about them, that's when you're stepping into your power. So I encourage you today to to not practice that old adage, hope for the best, plan for the worst. Don't let worry become your constant companion, and don't let things remain unhealed. And if you are ready to step into your power, I would love to be there to help you with that. And there is a certain kind of magic that happens that really does change your perspective on everything. So like I said, even when bad things happen, it's not just heaped on and heaped on and heaped on, because the root cause a lot of our stresses and anxieties can actually be healed. And when that happens, it frees up our mental bandwidth to deal with situational things that need our attention. And most of our worries are just simply situational things that need attention for a period of time that we blow, like I said, out of proportion. So if you're finding that worrying is a problem for you or a habit for you, give me a DM and let's set up a chance to chat about it, and we can talk about solutions, and we can talk about coping mechanisms, and we can talk about the things that can make you function in a much healthier way in your day-to-day life. I love you all. Don't worry, be happy. Don't be naive, but don't worry, be happy. You do have lots to be happy about as well. And that can also be a choice focus that you can choose to access. Have a great day. Love you all. Bye-bye.